South African tertiary students are gearing up for the 2023 academic year. While this marks a new exciting chapter for first-year tertiary entrants, it can also come with frustration for both students and their parents facing high accommodation and tuition fees.
On the fees issue, literally being a challenge to students' issues, it's not only a student issue at this point, right? It's an issue that's going to affect families. It's an issue that's going to affect livelihoods of people. There are so many people in rural areas, in townships, and in the downtrodden world, in other parts of the downtrodden world, that are expecting students to go to university spaces and come back with university education so that they can empower themselves to better their lives, right? Our country, for example, has been structured in a way such that in order for you to advance in terms of socio-economic mobility, you must have some prior learning or formal education.
Last year, the Higher Education Department proposed that the country's 26 universities increase fees by 4.3%. Some institutions like the University of Johannesburg, WITS and the University of Cape Town have already brought forward their proposals for the 2023 fee hikes. These hikes have been rejected by student leaders who are at the forefront of championing student issues. Student leaders across various universities have been conducting marathon meetings in a bid to see students with historic debt allowed to register. WITS SRC leaders say the institution demands that 50% of historic debt must be paid off before any student can be allowed to register. The SRC will now embark on a fundraising drive in a bid to raise 1 million rand that will see some historic debt paid off and students allowed to register for the 2023 academic year.
There are plenty of students who are coming to the SRC requiring help. And what we have done as SRC, because I think if I can tell you that the debt is close to 500 million of students who are owing the institutions and do not have the 50% to pay upfront, so they cannot register. So as an SRC, we are on the campaign to fundraise for those students. We have met with the VC, and the VC has said that if we fundraise at least 1 million from our side, the institution will also donate 1 million. So that's the partnership that we are having with the VC to make sure that this historical debt is being cleared and students are able to graduate.
The matric class of 2022 managed to obtain an 80.1% pass rate, with most eligible for tertiary education, but the issue of the missing middle students exists, whereby most won't qualify to get funding from the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. This is a matter that has angered the South African Union of Students that continues to call for an immediate change to the NSFAS legislation.
The missing middle are the students whom we often say that they are too poor to afford paying for their own fees, but also they are regarded too rich to be paid for by the state. So this is everyone who's just above the 350,000 bracket. And the reality is that some of them have 2-3 siblings in school and university, and it's just not possible for their parents to be able to afford the cost of higher education that can go up to even 120,000 per student per year. So we have that challenge with those students who are struggling to enter institutions of higher learning. One, they do not have money for the registration, those that are first-time entering students, but also those that are returning students. And those that are returning students are also struggling with paying their previous fees, so they are in debt. So I think that is the biggest chunk and the biggest challenge that we are currently having.
The desperation to gain access to university has seen some families often fall prey to scams and bogus institutions and credit lenders in a bid to pay for tuition fees.
With every single registered credit provider, they need to be registered with the National Credit Regulator, the NCR. You can go onto their website. You know that they are credible because they are a regulator. So they regulate the entire credit industry. You can go and check whether this person who's actually giving you this loan is actually credible. And then when it comes to the other institutions that say, you know what, we can give you, we can offer you a bursary or anything like that. I mean, always check. I always say that rather go to a Financial Sector Conduct Authority website than to just say, I don't know where to go. Because if you contact them, at least they will know where to refer you if they cannot assist you. So you've got those options that if it's a credit provider, the NCR will be able to assist you. Any other person basically or any other institution that you're not sure of, contact the FSCA.
The fees must fall protests are also rearing, with SRC leaders from various institutions saying many students will be left out without tertiary education as they cannot afford the high cost of fees. They say the proposed fees are steep and they are now appealing to the Department of Higher Education to allow a fee hike cap that will act as a ceiling for institutions to hike their fees. Katlego Legodi, SABC News, Johannesburg.